Check the leading against me. Ah, and here comes the rare pearl, the diamond in the rough that my Nisha tells me about. Come, young man.
Technomancer. Was a lieutenant in Abundance.
Then welcome to Noctus Labyrinthus, Technomancer, former lieutenant of Abundance. I am Dandolo, head of this fair city.
Legendary city of the merchants. Apparently less legend than I thought. Or been told.
But hopefully as glorious as legends proclaim. Regardless, for all who come seeking asylum, it opens its arms to you and your companions. You are free to call it home. Like all who have come before you, you will honor our only request, that you make yourselves useful to our city. I'm sure your skills will place you in high demand. Noctis' first Technomancer. Exciting. You'll have all the help you need with Nisha and Lucky, who I believe you've met. We'll give you a room to get some rest. I hear your trip was quite eventful. There is something else. I would like to personally discuss my expectations of you. You hear? War between Abundance and Aurora's winding down. Aurora took Green Hope.
Just left Ophir a few hours ago and didn't hear anything about that.
That really surprise you? Your little censorship office probably hasn't decided what to do with the information yet. No. Don't look at me like that. You don't belong to Abundance anymore. The truce doesn't behoove us. During peace, the corporations become more suspicious of us and our business suffers. Our city could even be discovered, which would be catastrophic. In legend, it must remain.
What do you...
No, let me speak. Your welcome here comes at a price. I want you to attack an Aurora convoy. It's right up your alley.
And why would I do that?
I didn't finish. You will do it in Abundance uniforms, dissolving the truce. Do what you want with the soldiers, but let the civilians live. They need to be witnesses that will report back to Aurora.
So you keep the war going?
Precisely. And while you're at it, bring back the uniforms of the Aurora Technomancers you dispatch. I'm sure I'll find a use for them down the road. Ah, another thing, much more trivial this time, I assure you. The rover you came in on, I'd like you to move it. Put it wherever you want, do whatever you want with it. Just make sure it's not in the way in the canyon. I just don't want Ophir to stumble over the machine and, as a result, find the road that leads here.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Oh yes, one last thing. My spies gave me a little tidbit that might interest you. Right after your escape, the ASC arrested your Technomancer brothers. That's what you call them, right? From Ophir. Their fate's uncertain, but if I was you, I'd be worried for them. If you're worried enough to want to help them, maybe we can set up some sand sails to get you back.
And your help comes at what cost? Assuming it's not out of the kindness of your heart.
Don't be so bitter, Zachariah. Business is business, not personal. I just thought a few Technomancers on our side might be useful.
You want to attack a convoy to reignite a war? You know how many people die in those wars? How many are mutilated? Taken prisoner?
Not precisely. But I think I have a clear idea of the numbers, yeah. Every battle has its purpose, Zachariah Mancer. Abundance has fought Aurora for years for more power. Out of idealism that their philosophies are more righteous than Aurora's. We don't just fight the corporations because of their damned ideals. What we do for our survival. For the survival of the misfits of Mars, the rejected, the poor, the outcasts of corporations. We fight for those who find a home with us, those I promised to protect. This mission worries you, and I get that. I do. Which is why I'm not asking you to attack your old brothers in arms, but rather just carry out the same attacks you did countless times before, under different command.
I don't know how I can move the rover. Pretty damaged.
I'm sure you can find a way to move it up here. Not sure sand sails can help, but maybe you can couple it to some ostriches. Maybe your explorer friend didn't tell you, but Some corporations would start a war to own such a machine. I'd repair it if I were you. Hell, sell it if you don't think you'll ever need it. I'll be honest though, rovers offer freedom no other transportation does. Word is, they can even reach the North and South Poles. Just something to think about.
How'd you find out about my brother so quickly?
Well, besides the fact that your accident and eventful arrival slowed you down, my messenger's sand-sails make up in speed what they lack in protection. And of course, the arrests of Abundance's most powerful strike forces were worthy of dispatching agents to keep an eye on the situation. You haven't even given a thought to how this disrupts the current balance of forces, have you?
You know why they were arrested?
The official statement is that they were suspected of treason. Victor's pretext, I'm sure. He's a man who hates anything not under his control. Was probably planning this for quite a while. He didn't get what he wanted going at it indirectly, so he just took it head on. Whatever hope you have for their lives, I'd start to come to terms. They're probably being tortured for their secrets as we speak. And as soon as they give them up, they'll be executed. If you care about them...
What do you know about Aurora?
A young corporation. Aggressive, inventive, less backward than Abundance. And right now, it's going through many changes. During the war, a man named Wisdom became its dowser. And because of him, Technomancers, who'd been kept from power for so long, now have quite a bit of influence, religious and political. No one knows what'll come of it, though. Only thing we know is that his alliance with the popular unions, which helped win a lot of battles, including the one over Greenhope, looks like it's become pretty fragile. And I admit I am concerned that this'll all lead to another bloodbath. It's just my concern, and I'm not always right, but I'm also rarely wrong.
What can you tell me about Abundance?
More than others, probably, because I see it all from the outside. And what I see isn't tainted by any loyalty to a mother country. Every last bit of it is harsh, from its structure to its hierarchy. And trust me, it's gonna topple one day. The administration's unending power leads to unending corruption, which keeps the Vori fed and keeps the control where it is. The plan is to stifle any bright young things in the corporation that might hope for promotion. Zachariah, we have two possible outcomes. One, Victor seizes power, Abundance survives, and crushes its own citizens beneath its boots. Or two, Abundance finds a way to the type of regime there now, though, can only survive with an equally...
I see your mutants walk around free here. They welcome, too?
And why wouldn't they be? They're the future of our planet, Zachariah. Though I'm sure that makes little sense to someone who grew up in a corporation that treats them like they are a lesser people. They work hard. They're excellent guides and artisans, perfect spies. And for me, key commercial part. It may be a surprise to you to learn that they hope to form a mutant nation someday. And I believe they have that right. So I've been supporting them with...
What are your thoughts on the ASC?
The cornerstone of Victor's dubious ascent to power. You want to deal with Abundance, you need to go through the ASC.
You think Victor's out to control Abundance?
Out to? No, he already does. Didn't your Technomancer friend's arrest prove that? A dowser to boot. Dowsers, the Assembly, whoever, all pawns to be sacrificed, or puppets to be manipulated in his games of blackmail, played with the secrets he's collected on everyone. He's brilliant, merciless, a master manipulator who's turned nearly every citizen into one of his agents, all without raising suspicion. Most in Abundance work for ASC ambitions, while those who don't will soon disappear.
What's the word on Anton Rogue?
A bastard like no other. My worst enemy and biggest threat. I've done my damnedest to make sure my existence, like this city, is little more than a vague rumor. Anton Rogue, though, knows damn well that me and this city are real. Just doesn't know where to find us. At least I hope not. He's big business competition, hopes to push the power of his organization into every corporation. And what better way for him to do it than through us? I do what I can to prevent him from reaching us, but he's not a man who quits till he gets what he wants.
Then why even try to stop him? It's just business, right?
True enough. But his methods aren't good for my business, or yours. He's a product of the abundance regime, and because of that, he only knows terror and violence as his tools. I prefer, well, more tactical methods.
What can you tell me about the Caravansary neighborhood?
It's the pulse of Noctis. The very first place built by traveling merchants. Built in the recesses of the labyrinth so they'd have a place to meet, trade, rest, drop their loads. Then the city exploded as it opened itself up to all those who were homeless elsewhere. And the simple building it once was became the beautiful palace it is today. It's still the place for merchants to gather, trade, swap tips and news, and get some rest. It's also become the home for the merchant prince, the elected chief of all traveling merchants.
What's the Gate neighborhood?
It's the neighborhood around the city's current entrance. Much less affluent than the heart of the city, and it keeps growing and getting better. Usually the first place newcomers tend to plant their roots. They'll go and dig or build their house where they can find space. A damn lively area, eclectic, and sometimes those differences, combined with the proximity of the canyon, can make it a bit dangerous. But we do our best to keep it safe. Try to find ways to bring the different communities together, rather than allow their division to fester.
Why'd you pick the canyons to build your city?
Who knows? That decision was made by people a century ago. But if you're asking my opinion, the canyons serve a dual purpose, providing transit and partial shade from the sun. I don't know if you know, but they connect us all over, even to the big cities, and they serve as natural protection, making it hard to find us without a guide. They're our shadow paths, our roof and our ramparts, all thanks to nature.
On my way in, I saw a large area with a bunch of sailing machines.
Ah yes, the loading zone, where we store, empty, and fix our vehicles when they need it. All the merchandise that comes in gets sorted there too, before getting redirected to the various city neighborhoods. It's a rather key area for the city. Without the sand sails, we'd have a damn difficult time getting our merch out to all the cities. Of course, we can't use them everywhere, and often use other means of transport, like the Shadow Path, or ostriches. But those machines, as you call them, do the bulk of the heavy lifting. It's our fleet, and we're damn proud of it too.
Like that man. He's intelligent, but shifty. He wishes to fire up another conflict, another war. Blood, corpses, misery. Those things follow a merchant of death. We should never have left Ophir.
I would have died there, Scott. I'm sorry you had to come with me. I really am. You could have stayed. but I have to go see what Dandolo wants.
I know it sounds bad, but what do you think Abundant or Aurora would do if they found our little outcast city? Dandolo may be cruel, but in the end, he only wants what's good for Noctis. Zach, perfect timing. You remember Abby Goodman?
Yeah, of course. She really your friend, or all just part of the cover you had going on?
No, no. She is. She's a spy for Noctis too, though. She's actually been working on something for me and finally managed to get some info I'd been trying to get.
What information was that?
I spent a part of my life in a rehabilitation camp after my arrest in Ophir. It was the worst time of my existence, and I've always wondered how I'd ended up here. Who had turned us in? We were just a group of street kids. We would steal food here and there, but we weren't dangerous. However, we were arrested and deported to a camp like hardened criminals or terrorists. What happened followed me for many years, until I learned that an important member of the Vori clique was responsible for the deportation of dozens of people. Most of them were innocent, but a nuisance for the mob. I want to find that guy. I want to know if it's he who got us deported. I want to understand why, and make him pay. For me, and my companions, of course, but also for those poor people who hadn't asked for anything.
I understand. That man seems to be a real scumbag. I'll help you find him.
Thank you, Zach.
How the hell did you go from being an artist in Ophir to a spy in Noctis?
Less of a stretch than you think. After all, a good lie, like good art, has to be close to your reality, right? Truth? I was an orphan. Parents did die, and I was on the street and got sucked into a gang. We all got arrested pretty quick and ended up... Swore I'd die there a couple of times because I wasn't gonna let them brainwash me. And they didn't take too kindly to that. I took the beatings, but got to keep my mind. Then, the day came. Noctis. They freed a lot of us and brought me here. Took care of us, gave us a chance to have lives again. So, I felt like I owed them something in return. And offered to go back. Good thing, too. Otherwise, who would have torn you out of Victor's grip and brought you back here?
You miss making music?
I miss performing. I mean, I still sing for myself here and there, write new lyrics when I feel inspired. But the moments I shared with my audience, it was so intense when I felt everyone humming with me.
How about you sing for me?
Maybe another time. But I'd love to. There's something intimate in sharing your art, like sharing your soul. It's why I feel like music can unite people across corporations, on opposite sides of wars or causes. It's simply beautiful. And in between the notes, our differences seem to disappear. The second all this ends, I'll get back to it. It's what I was born for, and I'm not one to deny destiny.
You always been alone? Or never had anyone you cared about?
You mean guys? Why? You the jealous type, Zach? Afraid of some competition? Scared you won't measure up? There was one guy, Nick. I was only 10, but I was head over heels for him. Other than him, couple flings here and there, but nothing much more serious than that. You asking because you heard the rumors in Ophir that I...
No, I was just...
I did what I had to do, Zach. To do my job. Never cared about those guys. That's the truth.
You just did what you had to do.
Hey, there you are. You're meeting
As well as hoped.
Then let's get down to business. You know who I am. You know my past. You know what little I have left. What are you gonna do about it now is the question. You gonna use what you can against me? Well, let me carry on with the small life I've managed to build.
I want to help you. What can I do?
Some things can't be healed, Rogue. Like that scar across your face. I'm guessing you got it the day I lost everything. And was reduced to a sad, broken, armless shadow of what I might have been.
Some things can't be healed, but most can be mended, friend. Let me ask around. It might be a long shot, but maybe you'll find a new reason to call yourself lucky again. We'll find someone who can lead you back to your gifts. I promise.
I may be bitter, but I'm no less grateful. Thank you, Zachariah. A little show of kindness goes a long way.
I can't deal with it right now, but when I get a chance, I'll look into it.
That's good enough for me. You'll come see me later then?
Yeah, I'll come find you later. Hey.
Hey back.
What about your gift? I thought people died if they didn't use their fluid.
It's a myth. There are rogue Technomancers out there. Not a lot, but a few. They know how to control their fluid surges. Probably the only thing that piece of shit Marcello could take credit for. He introduced me to one of those guys, and after that, I learned to control it the hard way. The irony, no? I'll never be a Technomancer now, but I control the fluid better than any of Abundance's masters. Not for power, just to make sure my own brain doesn't fry.
Hey.
Hey, back.
Why aren't you with your family?
Right. My family. They were small-time merchants. I'm sure real proud their son was gifted with technomancy and was joining the school. But they were also scared as shit of me for the same reason. We're all scared. Not that I'm sure any of the masters even asked them to take me back. It was more important to them that I disappear for good. To hide what happened. Keep the illusion of the... Also, to hide the fact they had people among them who had the power to take down entire buildings. No, I had to go. In some ways, they even did me a...
And you never tried to reconnect with them? Even after you got free?
No, I looked for him. Even tracked down my father. He was just this... old man. Didn't even recognize me. And if he did, a crippled outcast. Not something you'd put your pride in. So I let it lie.
Hey.
Hey,
What have you been up to since you left?
what have I done? Well, after spending 10 years of my life as a slave trying to pay that piece of shit Marcelo back for what he called my debts, traveled in his luggage hold, did his dirty jobs, whatever he needed to get his business going. Carried crates, drove sand sales, shoveled sand, ran errands, but mostly just picked his customers' pockets. I traveled a lot, though, if I'm going to find any silver lining in it, and I've earned my damn place here in Noctis. Even if the price of that has been rarely sleeping in a real bed or reading a book that wasn't about accounting.
Hey.
It...
What happened that day?
I had a surge. A big one. One even the Masters never saw coming, literally. Before they even knew what was happening, I electrified everyone and everything around me. It screamed like thunder from my body. I woke up in the infirmary without an arm, surrounded by all those powerful Masters who stood there shaken, whispering, their eyes still filled with fear. And everything went...